a deleted demon, creepy motel visitors, and a post-credits teaser setting up the next Conjuring movie are some of the many scenes cut from The Devil Made Me Do It. Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers, I'm Jan, and in this video I'm revealing the fascinating scenes, original ending, and villain cut from The Conjuring 3. Spoilers for the franchise ahead, so take care. In a departure from the haunted house theme of the first two Conjuring movies, The Devil Made Me Do It is more of a demonic detective story, with Ed and Lorraine searching for clues that will eventually lead them to the occultist's underground lair. However, in the trailers, there's a good deal of footage that points to an alternate storyline for how the Warrens discover the occultist's den. Notice how the trailer shows Ed and Lorraine opening the door together on her altar, compared to the final movie, where Lorraine finds the room by herself after she goes to visit Kastner alone, and he reveals to her the truth about his daughter and the tunnels. In this earlier version of the movie, the location also looks quite a bit different. There's what looks like a tree behind the altar, plus an animal which could be a goat or perhaps even a ram, given we know the occultist developed her interest in Satanism from the objects her father collected while investigating the disciples of the ram. Ed also carries a package with him into the room, which he uses to sweep everything off the occultist's altar in this deleted scene. In the final movie, Ed doesn't arrive at the altar room until the very end, when he's under the influence of the occultist and is attacking Lorraine. And after Lorraine breaks him out of that trance, he smashes the altar with a sledgehammer. Some behind-the-scenes footage also shows another different version of Lorraine going to the altar room by herself than we get in the finished movie. We know this was deleted because Lorraine's hair is up in this shot rather than down as it is in the final film at this point, and she's also got a bandage on her hand. An intriguing deleted scene teased in the trailer but which never made it into the final film is of Ed and Lorraine during their stay at a motel while investigating the Jessica and Katie case. In this cutscene, Ed is on the phone, but Lorraine has been distracted by something, a row of creepy shadows outside the motel window which feel like they're looking in on the Warrens. You can tell this is a motel and not the Warren house because of the Do Not Disturb sign on the doorknob, and I think this could have been another of the optical illusions that the occultist is able to perform. A particularly cool moment teased in the trailers, which sadly didn't make it into the final film, was this shot of multiple copies of Lorraine endlessly spiralling into the distance. This would have been a visual trick cast by the occultist while she was pursuing Lorraine through the tunnels. This moment was foreshadowed during the opening scenes of David's exorcism, when the camera that Drew was filming with was knocked over. As the camera continued to record the monitor it was connected to, an image of the screen began to replicate itself infinitely, in a very similar pattern to what happens to Lorraine in this deleted scene. In the final movie, we get a kind of cut down, somewhat simplified version of this trippy visual, with a double of Lorraine appearing in front of her and mirroring her movements. Although this was still a nice effect that suitably freaked Lorraine out, it's a shame we didn't get the full-on sequence teased at the beginning of the movie. Another deleted scene from the trailers are these shots of the police searching for a body. This is the water below the cliff that Lorraine nearly fell down while she was investigating Katie's murder at the hand of Jessica. These scenes were probably cut for pacing and time in the final version. However, they might also be another indicator of reshoots in the movie because it could explain why in the final film, a bandage suddenly appears on Lorraine's hand after she almost falls off the cliff, even though she didn't seem to hurt her hand when Ed rescued her. Although it is possible it's an injury from that fall, it might hint that something else happened to Lorraine during those deleted scenes. A curious deleted scene in one of the trailers shows Arne standing on the edge of a prison building with a chain around his neck, looking like he might be about to kill himself. In the movie, the occultist tries to get Arne to commit suicide, like Jessica when she ran off the cliff, in order to complete the curse she cast on him. Some fans were a little disappointed that The Devil Made Me Do It didn't dive so much into the details of Arne Johnson's court trial, and although I doubt it was ever going to be the main focus, there's some behind-the-scenes footage of Ed addressing reporters outside the courthouse which wasn't in the final movie, hinting there may have been more courtroom drama filmed but cut from the final film. A publicity still of Lorraine, Ed, Drew and Debbie forming a prayer circle indicates another scene that was nowhere to be found in the final movie. This moment looks like it would have appeared around the time that the Warrens and the team are trying to figure out the key to breaking the curse put on Arne by the occultist, and I suspect the prayer was cut for time. A major change that might explain why there appear to have been reshoots on the film is that in early versions of the movie, there was a specific demon that the occultist was communicating with. In the final film, although a reference is made to the occultist having summoned a demon,
this demon, it's not here of its own free will. It was summoned.
We never see its form, and instead at the end, when the curse has been broken, it's a copy of the occultist which comes to take her soul. In an interview with Slash Film, director Michael Chavez said they originally had a demon that matched the description that the real-life David Glatzel and Arne Johnson had given to them about the demonic entity they claimed to possess them. Producer James Wan was on board with the demon, and a cut of the film with the demon does in fact exist. However, it appears that the interaction between the demon and the occultist was too complicated and confusing for test audiences, which Chavez puts down to this being the first time a human antagonist has featured in the franchise. At the time of filming, Chavez was actually expecting the demon to end up with his own spin-off film, but admitted that it just didn't click and had to be replaced in a similar way to how the original antagonist of The Conjuring 2, a winged, horned demon, ended up being replaced by the demonic nun Valak during reshoots. Because Chavez felt bad for the actor Davis Osborne, who'd played the original demon, he decided to give him the part of the prison hospital patient who mocks and taunts Arnie. The Devil Made Me Do It also originally had a post-credits scene that would have set up a future Conjuring universe movie. In an interview with NME, Chavez revealed that the deleted credits teaser was an expansion on the villains introduced in this movie. However, similar to the demon problem, it was confusing and therefore removed, to give the film a more solid, definitive ending. Chavez hasn't yet said what was in the scene, but I wonder whether it could have alluded to the return of Valak in a fourth Conjuring movie, or perhaps a sequel to The Nun. There were already a few teasers to Valak in the film, such as the nun figurine in Arnie's bedroom, but as Titan BR pointed out on my Things You Missed video, there was also this photograph of the occultist when she was younger, and in the background towards the window, there seems to be a mysterious shape which could be a blurry and somewhat indistinct or semi-transparent nun's habit. The date on the photograph is 1952, which is the year that the main events of The Nun take place, something which suggests the filmmakers want to tease a potential connection between the two movies. We have seen the demonic nun hidden in the background of a photo before in the franchise, for example in the one that Sister Charlotte showed to Samuel Mullins in Annabelle Creation. Perhaps this post-credits scene would have shown the occultist having been previously in contact with Valak in some way. Another possibility is that she was visited by Frenchie, who in 1952 was possessed by Valak during the events of the Nun movie. Alternately, the credits scene might have expanded on the connection between the occultist and the Disciples of the Ram, the cult from the first Annabelle movie that was mentioned several times in The Devil Made Me Do It. We know from Father Kastner that the Disciples of the Ram were especially evil and vindictive, and that after the cult's members were tried and found guilty, the lead prosecutor's wife and baby both suffered terrible fates. If any of the cult are still around, or if they can break out of prison, they might target Ed and Lorraine for helping to take down the occultist, something that could be the setup for the next Conjuring or Annabelle movie.
A master Satanist is not an adversary to be taken lightly.
The credits scene might also have been setting up the Crooked Man spin-off movie that's currently in development based on the villain from the haunted turntable in The Conjuring 2. Whatever the scene entails, we'll hopefully get to see it, as Chavez said the scene may be coming back in another form, hinting that it'll be worked into an upcoming movie, or perhaps even as a deleted clip from the movie's Blu-ray release. And if you want to learn all about how The Devil Made Me Do It connects with The Nun and the Annabelle movies, plus all the horror movie Easter eggs in the film, tap here to watch my Things You Missed video, or follow the link in the video description. So do you wish any of these deleted scenes had been in the final movie? And what Conjuring film are you looking forward to next? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, leave a thumbs up, and a share is also hugely appreciated. Tap left to discover the even more horrifying original ending of The Nun, or tap right for something else you're sure to like. Thanks for watching and see you next time, yippee-ki-yay movie lovers!